With the creation of the Committee of Public Safety in 1793, the French Revolution entered its most chaotic and violent phase, the period known as the Reign of Terror. The Committee of Public Safety believed that France could only survive if its citizens were completely unified behind the war effort. Their logic was simple and terrifying. If unity was necessary, then disagreement became treason. Under the committee's interpretation, anyone who opposed revolutionary goals, or anyone suspected of opposing them, was considered an enemy of the nation. The consequence was execution. This period is most closely associated with Maximilien Robespierre, one of the leading figures of the revolution. It is difficult to determine the exact number of people executed during the Reign of Terror, but historians generally estimate that the total ranged between 14,000 and 25,000 deaths. These executions were not primarily aimed at nobles, as is often assumed. In fact, workers made up about 31% of those executed, while peasants accounted for 28%. Nobles represented only a small portion of the victims, comprising roughly 8 to 10% of those who were put to death. The terror was, in short, not a war against aristocrats alone. It was a campaign of fear directed at anyone the government deemed suspicious. The committee did far more than execute perceived enemies. It attempted to completely transform French society according to revolutionary and sometimes extreme ideas. For the first time since ancient times, every adult male became liable for military service. France mobilized the largest army in Europe, which ultimately helped it survive foreign invasion. Robespierre and his allies declared that traditional religion was irrational, leading them to take several dramatic steps against it. They attempted to abolish Christianity, convert churches into temples of reason, and organize civic ceremonies that celebrated reason and the ideals of the Enlightenment. This experiment was so unpopular that by 1794, Robespierre replaced it with the cult of the Supreme Being, an effort to establish a non-Christian, moral, civil religion. The Committee of Public Safety also reorganized the calendar in an effort to break with France's Christian past. The new system consisted of 12 months, each with 30 days, and replaced the traditional 7-day week with 10-day decades, in which people worked for 9 days and rested on the 10th. 5, or in leap years 6, additional days were set aside as national holidays. The months themselves were renamed to reflect seasonal characteristics, such as Thermidor, meaning heat, for July, August, Fructidor, harvest, for late summer, and Germinal, germination, for spring. Although this system was intended to be more logical and scientific, it ultimately confused many people and proved extremely unpopular in practice. One part of the reforms that did survive was the introduction of the metric system, meters, liters, kilograms, and so on. This was considered a rational and universal way to measure things, and it remains in use across most of the world today. Many of the committee's reforms were attempts to remake society along Enlightenment lines. Some, like the metric system, were durable and practical. Others, like renaming months and abolishing religion, felt extreme and unworkable. The Reign of Terror revealed how the ideals of reason and liberty could, under pressure, be twisted into instruments of fear and oppression. The French Revolution was far from over. In fact, the most dramatic reversals were still to come.